Diddy subpoenaed Warner Brothers for evidence from the fall of Diddy. And Warner Brothers is fighting back, telling Diddy, we don't want you to have shit. Warner Brothers just filed this motion in Diddy's criminal case, asking the judge to throw out Diddy's subpoena against them, asking for a whole bunch of information about people that appeared on the documentary The Fall of Diddy. Now, Warner Brothers is saying that Diddy wants information about individual A, who is a former personal chef to Diddy, who was featured on the documentary speaking about her times with Diddy and how Diddy treated her. We know it's Diddy's personal chef, Jordan, who talked about her horrific experience working for Diddy and saying that Diddy allegedly put hands on her and all of this information. And she also worked around the time when Cassie was with Diddy. And after that video came out of Diddy beating up Cassie, she also spoke very publicly on her social media about how it was all true, and Diddy did this to Cassie for a long time. Now, they said the other person that Diddy is wanting information on is individual B, a former romantic partner of Diddy who is featured on the documentary, discussing the origins and the path of her relationships with him, including one alleged incident of SA. We know this part is about Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Kat Passion, who talked about her and Diddy's relationship for many years and how she was allegedly SA'd by Diddy one time that he did Tucci. Now, Warner Brothers said in the subpoena by Diddy, Diddy wanted all recordings of the interviews with individual A and individual B created in connection with the documentary series, including all unaired outtakes. Warner Brothers also said that Diddy wanted all diary entries, journals, narratives, or notes provided by either individual A or individual B in connection with the documentary. And if you go back and watch Jordan the chef and Kat Passion, they both talked about how they had journals and they read them aloud about some of the things that they were going through during their time with Diddy. Diddy also wanted records of any financial payments made to either individual A or individual B in connection with the documentary. Warner Brothers said that they had some discussions with Diddy, and Diddy agreed to drop the second and the third request in the subpoena, and Warner Brothers agreed to produce a copy of the aired documentary to Diddy. And they said that Diddy wasn't okay with this. They still fought back and forth with Diddy because Diddy wanted the full interviews that were not in the documentary that was aired on TV. And what Warner Brothers said next is crazy. They said the purpose of the subpoena is far from clear on its face. Diddy is seeking potential impeachment of material against individual A and individual B should either of them testify at Diddy's trial. Impeaching it means that he could try to use different things that they said in these interviews against them on cross-examinations. But Diddy cannot even know if this material is even potentially relevant because the government witness list is not due to Diddy until April 14th. Right now, the witness list is on attorney eyes only. That means that Diddy is not supposed to know any of these alleged witnesses that are going to testify against him. Therefore, he does not know if either individual A or individual B will testify at trial, nor does he know whether any of the material sought would actually impeach either witness. Now, one thing that I did notice out of some of the people that gave testimonies to the feds before Diddy was even raided was one of Diddy's former chefs, which I assume could be the former chef Jordan. All of these people in their testimonies for the feds gave probable cause as to narcotic offenses. And in my opinion, Diddy has a lot of people to worry about that were in this documentary, like his assistant being the most damning, Philip Hines, who we know gave that interview, who said that he testified to the grand jury against Diddy. And he is the same one that produced so many receipts. He had voice memos from Diddy. He also had text messages about setting up these freak-offs from Christina Korm. And he also had pictures of things that he would have to stock for these freak-offs. We know that Philip Hines worked around the same time as Little Rod Jones because they both worked during the Love album. And something I found really interesting that the feds said is producer one's statements that could possibly be Little Rod on a certain topic were corroborated by another witness known as Assistant One. We know that Philip Hines was an assistant that worked during the Love album and Love Records, and so was Little Rod, the producer for Diddy on the Love album. We even have Cassie's former makeup artist on The Fall for Diddy who talked about witnessing Diddy beat Cassie Ventura. And we also have Diddy's former bodyguard, Roger Bonds, in this documentary, who Cassie Ventura talked about in her lawsuit as trying to break up a fight between her and Diddy one time, who also said that he watched Diddy be very violent multiple different times. This is literally only some of the accounts on the fall for Diddy. This was one of the best documentaries that I had watched on Diddy, and I always kept it very close because I thought it was funny that Diddy sued every other documentary except this one. I felt like Diddy wasn't going to sue this documentary as soon as I heard the interview from Diddy's assistant, who said that he testified to the grand jury against Diddy, especially after seeing all the receipts that he laid out in that interview during the documentary. And the way this man alleged that it was his job to set up these freak-offs matched the words to a T in Diddy's indictment about those co-conspirators. So the second that I heard that man say, I testified to the grand jury against Diddy, I automatically knew that he either had to give something up about Diddy or he was going to be listed as one of those possible co-conspirators. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.